Welcome back to SPX 2015. I'm Rusty.
I am Joe.
And I'm Joe.
What?
Whoa, this is already crazy.
To be honest, he was Joe before I was Joe.
That's true.
That is true.
When I first met this Joe, I went by Jose. Now I go by Joe.
You stole my line. I knew you as Jose, Joe, Joey,
Yes.
Giuseppe.
Never.
That's
you.
That's in his heart. That's what he knew you as for a while.
Exactly. I've waited 5 years to be invited on this show. 5 years.
Yeah. Let's clarify.
That is a bucket of fallacy
God.
right there. Untrue in so many
These
ways.
salacious comments will not stand.
Last year, they said, yeah, we'll interview you. And they gave me this hotel down the street.
Yep.
I showed up, and it was a swingers convention.
Yeah. Let's
It
just
was.
say it was an interview.
Let's just say we were looking out for you.
Yeah.
I only agreed this year to do this interview because you said there was going to be an open bar in the green room. There's no green room.
Right.
Not yet. It'll be available as soon
Not
as
here.
this
It's in the
interview's
other
over.
hotel. You made a poor choice 2 years in a row.
This year, they said, come on Monday at 2, we'll slot you in.
Yeah.
We'll see how
Nice
it goes,
try,
right?
guys.
Guys, we're doing our best here.
Yeah, I mean.
We're not professionals. We're just really good amateurs.
the best amateurs.
Joe, you've been a publisher now for many years.
Look at all these books.
I remember when you started, you had that scruff on your chin. You just couldn't wait to get going.
Yes.
You're like, I want to make books. I want to make books of old artists. I'm going to find these treasures and I'm going to share them with the new generation. And everybody's like, no, you're never going to do it, Joe.
You can't do it, Joe.
You can't
Doubters.
do it. You can't get it
Suckers.
together.
Haters.
But you've shown them
Yes.
That's right, I have.
many years later. Not even just a couple.
Sitting on top of my publishing empire, Lost Art Books.
So tell us about Lost Art Books. What was the inspiration for putting this together?
I've been collecting books, comics, pretty much all my life. And I would come across these artists that had just completely fallen into obscurity, whose work I thought was great. I would share it with other people who seemed to enjoy it and like it as well. And it just really seemed like it was begging for it to be put back out there so that other folks could enjoy it too. I work in publishing professionally, so it seemed natural to marry publishing experience and know-how with art that I'm passionate about.
Nice.
Was it hard to make that final call, like, I'm actually going to do this? Because it's something you're already passionate about, the artist involved, the work's involved, but it's a step beyond to say, I'm going to take the reins of making this available to new people.
Yeah, it was something that because you guys know me and have known me for many years, it's something I talked about for a long time. And it was sort of inching my way toward life. Sometimes has other ideas for for how things are going to unfold.
Life throws in suggestions that you weren't expecting.
Exactly. And but it got to a point. There a couple of things happened. One of them being I turned 40, and I thought, I've been talking about this for too long. It's time to step up to the plate and do it. And so I I wanted to come out with a bang, so I put together 3 titles and debuted the whole press in those 3 titles at the 2010 SPX.
Now, have you exhibited at every SPX since then?
I have.
How's it been?
It's been fantastic. I've been attending SPX since 2000 and exhibiting since 2010. And, it's the cliche that you hear again and again about SPX, but really is a gathering of the tribe. There's so many kindred spirits who come together in this space every year. And it's kind of hard not to be inspired by the energy that everybody brings to this. And so, it's always a fantastic show.
Cool.
Well, one of the things different, though, is that so many of the books here are obviously made by the people that are selling them. And you bring something very different to that, much like a larger publisher might have a bunch of creators that they represent, but your creators are, almost long and forgotten, and you're trying to correct that. Has it been hard to find your audience within this group?
That's a great question.
Boom. Almost professional.
Damn it, I wish I had a great answer.
Well, look, it
No,
seems
it
to
is.
me that you've tapped a vein that I wouldn't necessarily have thought was present at this specific show.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're right. I think I am a little bit of an anomaly in that regard, in that you're right. It's a lot of just very great creative artists, writers who table at this show. But as you said, it is, I kind of see myself as akin to other publishers. Obviously, I'm not as big as a Top Shelf or an Oni or whatever,
But a similar
it's
function.
similar type approach, absolutely. I have the benefit, though, of the fact that all of my artists are dead. That makes it so much easier to deal with them.
It is a lot easier to give feedback.
Yes, exactly.
But not just that they're dead, but you also get a full retrospective of their works.
Right,
So you can do a
absolutely.
compendium of them, or just pick the best works to represent.
Right, exactly, and that's what I try to do. And all the artists basically that I focused on in my books, and been about 10 books so far, none of them have had a comprehensive or any real collection of their work, except for one. A great German illustrator named Heinrich Klei, but he had not had a collection of his work in like 50 years, and there was so much more of his work that had never been collected that I wanted to put back out there.
But even then, it was 50 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not exactly something you're going to find on Amazon.
Exactly.
So what all is involved in putting this together? Because there's a lot of research to do.
Yeah.
And then you actually have to do a fair amount of like cleanup and stuff on the art too, don't you?
Exactly. So, it really starts with me being passionate about a particular artist. And again, this really is sort of born of my sort of bibliophile collecting of this material for a long time. And so a lot of these books are the culmination of 8-10 years of my just kind of finding material, over time, a little bit here, a little bit there. So once I gather enough material that I sort of have a critical mass enough that I feel like I could put a collection together that honors these artists' legacy, then it's a lot of scanning. Sometimes it's a lot of research. A lot of it also is, I've been doing this for a while now, and there's a network of other people who are enthusiastic about this stuff. So it's reaching out to folks and asking, do you have any material on this artist or that artist, and pulling together resources that way. We're lucky that we live here in the DC area. The Library of Congress has a lot of great resources, and I've tapped those for different projects. But a lot of the material just comes straight from my collection. Tons of scanning, and then I spend 5 times more of my time actually trying to restore the art, trying to get it. Most of this stuff was printed in periodicals or books, and printing in that period might not have been as good.
Yes.
And it was very, papers weren't as good. It was considered ephemeral.
Yeah, nothing made to last at that point.
Right, exactly. So for me, it's trying to restore it and get it at least close to what it was like when it was published. And there are times where I'm lucky where I have access to original art and stuff like that, so I can actually even do something that's a better than when it was originally published. So that's really cool. And part of the process for each one of these books as well is to create I want to create a bridge for a modern audience. So I try to find other contemporary artists or historians to give each artist and their work some context by writing it, essays and introductions and things like that to shed some light on the lives of these
And
artists.
not just present the work.
Exactly.
Yeah, provide some context to it.
Right, provide some kind of other. I know personally one of the things I love is to hear artists talk about art that they are passionate about, and so I try to find contemporary artists who have some sort of affinity for the arts that I want to do a book on.
That would seem to be a big audience for you, are the artists.
Right.
Because they, more than anyone, they probably study the medium a lot, and they know, if not about these people, but about people like that, and so they're open to this idea.
Exactly. And these books are very much, it's passion publishing, and it's also, they wouldn't be anywhere near what they are without just this community of people who want to contribute their time and knowledge and resources to making the books, something that honors the sort of legacy of these artists.
One of the things I think is the neatest thing about your line of books is how different they are from each other. So let's put the let's stand these up real quick. So, I mean, you can just get an idea of the uniqueness of each book. And in a way, they're kind of, I'm guessing, designed towards the strengths of the artist,
Exactly.
what type of art they did, how they were presented.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool, and that has to probably take a large amount of time, because you're not just putting it in a book and slapping, your
Right.
banner on it. You're trying to construct a vehicle for it that matches the work.
Exactly. I mean, really, it's all about, for me, honoring the artists that I do these books on.
Sure.
So like you said, like the Matt Baker book, is a comic book from the 1950s, and so we try to design a cover that evokes the feel of that,
Sure.
But with somebody like, Frederick Richardson, he was doing illustrations and cartoons for the Chicago Daily News in the 1890s, very Art Nouveau. So we tried to evoke some of that feeling of it as well. And you're right, you could just do a template
like a
and
uniform,
slap stuff together, and it would be a lot easier and a lot faster. But that doesn't interest me.
Well, no, it's both, because I noticed on the spine you've numbered them, so they're all part of a family.
Right.
But outside of that, you could just buy the book that interests you the most.
Right.
And that
exactly.
also helps somebody that doesn't know the artist necessarily to get an idea, like that's the type of style to expect, just
Right.
browsing along a group of them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So you guys are very perceptive of what I'm trying to do, which is great.
Well, I mean, it's you found a lot of people that connect with these books, it seems.
Yeah.
Because you're still doing it many years later.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got a whole backlog of this kind of stuff. It's really a lack of time, because this isn't my day job.
And
This
it
is
also is very time consuming.
Yeah, it is.
And so then you have to kind of prioritize too.
Exactly. So I wish I could put more books out than I do, but I managed to get a couple of books out a year, and I want to do them to a standard that I can be happy
Of course.
with. So.
Of course. Something you said made me think of this, is that you say, you only do a couple books a year, it's not your full-time job. But with these types of books and your passion for them, it's really a different measurement of success. And that if you know that this is resonating with people, if you're introducing new people to these artists, that helps spur you on as much as being completely financially successful.
Yeah,
You're able to sell
yeah.
enough to keep going.
Right.
But also you're garnering new followers for these works.
Absolutely. And that's one of the great things about SPX, because publishing is often a pretty isolated, lonely kind of endeavor, and so you come to a show like this and you get to connect with people who see it either for the first time. It's like, oh, I've never heard of this guy, this is so cool, or you get to see people
Come back.
It's like, oh, I loved this book, what do you have new this time?
Right, because at that point you're becoming like a curator, and they align with your taste maybe. Like,
Right.
if you did this book, I don't know who this other person is, but I like this, and I kind of trust
if
you
he
now.
chose to focus on this person, obviously this will be somebody that I would also appreciate.
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope, that people, when they hear Lost Art books, it's the kind of thing like they know that it's going to be a certain kind of product.
Have you gotten more out of this than you expected when you started? As far as
Absolutely.
feedback, or just
Yeah.
something for you?
Absolutely. When I started doing it, I didn't anticipate. Some of the things I didn't anticipate are just some of the. It's almost like serendipitous kinds of things. Like with the latest book I did, it's on this Italian cartoonist from the 50s and 60s.
How would you pronounce the title?
His pen name was Kramos, and his actual name was Niso Ramponi. And he died like in 2002. And I ended up through a sort of a friend of a friend getting to connect with his living daughter, who's like in some small town in Italy. She's in her 70s, and I was able to write to her, and she doesn't speak English, and I don't speak Italian. So we have a language and an ocean separating us, but we both have this like love for her dad's work, and so she provided me a bunch of cool biographical information. Sent me some photocopies of some of his art, and it was super sweet. She sent me an actual sketch that her father did, a piece of original art.
Wow. Oh, amazing!
And, you don't anticipate that kind of stuff when you go into this.
You're
like
doing
at
this,
best, it would be nice to like just get some feedback or
You're doing this for the artist,
right.
and then in a way, you're doing really something cool for his daughter.
Right? Exactly.
How neat is that?
Exactly, and it's like I didn't anticipate that was going to happen. I didn't anticipate how cool that was going to feel when it did happen, and that's really the best. I did another book that's not here on an artist named comic artist named Ray Wilner, and he did a lot of stuff in the 40s and 50s, and I ended up connecting with his son, and it took a long time for me to like find his son, and other people had tried and not been able to do it, but I tracked him down, and it was, he was so happy to share information about his dad's life, sent me a bunch of examples of his dad's work that allowed me to kind of give a portrait of this artist's life that no one had really known about, but that was such a great artist. And so, I sent the son like about 30 copies of the book when it came out, and he said they have a big family reunion every year, and he gave copies to everybody.
Oh, wow.
And like family members were like tearing up, and it's like, that's better than anything else.
Yes.
That's all beside the book
Their
itself.
copy,
That's
that's the best thing right
How
there.
cool.
Yeah, so it's that kind of stuff. That's what keeps me going. That's like, because as I said, it's a lot of hours sitting in front of a computer in Photoshop, cleaning up the art, which the upside of that is that you really get to spend a lot of intense time with the art, and you get to appreciate it in a way that you maybe wouldn't.
And all the final
otherwise.
details. Yeah.
Right, exactly, because you're spending so much time with it that I started out loving these artists, and usually by the end of the process, it's like I love them even more and have an even deeper understanding.
Do you feel like that's the last time I want to see this guy's art for a while?
No, it kind of comes and goes in waves, in that you've spent so much time with one artist that you start to feel like, okay, I want to look at something else for a while. Mm-hmm. But usually, by the end, you get a little bit of distance from it, even if it's just a couple weeks, and you go back and it's like, oh, wow. This is why I completely fell in love with this guy to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
And how much of this is that you now have all these nice books to go back and look at your favorite artists with? Like, I really want to look at this guy's art.
Personal library.
Look at this. Look how clean and crisp the art is.
It's almost just like,
sweet.
I'm so glad someone made this.
it's like he just organized his collection.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's kind of the cool thing about it, is that there are a couple of other little publishers who are doing very similar things to me. We're not overlapping with the same artists, but they're doing artists that I love as well. And so it's cool because, every time one of them puts out a book, it's like, oh, I'm so glad I can add this to my collection. And on some level, it's like, I'm so glad that somebody did this, so I don't have to go do it.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for picking up some of the slack.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm the trendsetter, but you guys can help too. All right, Joe, before we let you go, do you want to answer a mystery question?
I would certainly love to answer a mystery question.
Boom, let's bring it in.
All right.
Quarter here.
Oh, quarter. Yes, absolutely. Man, this is fantastic. Is it the other way?
Yeah.
I'll take a mystery question. I was hoping for a temporary tattoo or
maybe a finger
mood
puppet.
ring. Let's see what we got
Or a
here.
finger tattoo.
Finger tattoo.
Finger
Nice.
tattoo. Which birthday do you wish you had? That's interesting.
There are many options out there
There are
for
many
you.
options, and I gotta say, I have never thought about another birthday I wish I had, because I have a kind of cool birthday already, which is Valentine's Day.
Oh.
How do you top that, though? I guess.
Yeah, just there's an upside and downside to Valentine's Day. Is your birthday. When you're a high school kid who doesn't have a girlfriend, and your birthday just drives that point home, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But when you do have someone special in your life, like I do now, which is my lovely wife, Ellen Levy, which I should also add is my co-publisher.
I was going to bring it up. I had thought about it. I wasn't going to let it
say
go.
anything,
It's
but-
okay.
Exactly. Then it just makes having a Valentine's Day birthday all the sweeter.
Aw.
And I guess there's another downside. It's like everybody goes out to eat at restaurants, and so it's like a real bitch to get a reservation.
Thanks for screwing up my
Yeah,
birthday.
exactly.
Guys,
But-
it's my birthday.
I know you all want to celebrate. But geez.
right.
Now, where can people find your books online? More about your
Yeah.
publishing empire.
Absolutely. It's super simple. It's lostartbooks.com. And you can go there. I have video previews for a lot of the books. I have art for all of the books. I have descriptions about the artists, links to website reviews and blogs and stuff like that of people who've written nice things about my book. So you can find a lot of interesting stuff on my website. You can order books there too.
Sounds great. Thank you for spending time with us after all
Yes.
these years.
I am honored, and I feel really bad that I took 5 years to sit down with you guys, because you are some of my oldest friends in the DC area. We've been hanging out for a long time.
Yeah.
You guys are fantastic. Little SPX memory lane here. My first show in 2010. You guys were actually exhibitors as well.
Indeed. We were table mates.
Table mates right
was
next
great.
to mine. It
That
was
was the best.
fantastic.
That was one of my favorite years.
It
Yes.
was an awesome year. I remember.
I got it because one of the cool things about it was getting to see you exhibit for the first time, sell your books for the first time, and to be a part of that as you got to see all these
Yes.
new people going through your work. It
And
was
we,
awesome.
and we didn't know we would be next to you until we got here. And it was
Right.
like, yes.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like complete serendipity, and it was my favorite year of SPX as well.
Everybody's cheering.
Everybody's
for
cheering
Joe
for
now.
us. We're going to wrap this puppy up. Thank you so much, and have a great everything.
Thanks, guys.